Sergio Perez holds a contract with Red Bull that extends until the conclusion of the 2024 season, with 5 of his 6 career wins achieved under the banner of the Milton Keynes-based team. Perez has undoubtedly made his mark. However, the world of Formula One is ever evolving, and Red Bull has always never ceased scouting for potential replacements. Right now, McLaren's rising star, Lando Norris, has emerged as a possible replacement. What are the chances of Norris moving to Red Bull? Let's find out. Red Bull Racing, in their relentless quest for the perfect wingman to complement the team's undisputed leader Max Verstappen, made the strategic move of signing Sergio Perez at the end of the 2020 season. The team was determined to find a driver capable of not only supporting Verstappen's championship aspirations, but also contributing enough podium finishes to secure the coveted Constructors' Championship. Previous attempts with their junior drivers Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon had proven less than successful, as they were thrust into the Formula One spotlight prematurely. However, the more experienced Perez proved to be a different story, as he managed to hold his own, securing 5 of his 6 career wins in just under 3 years with Red Bull. Perez's journey this season started with promise, as he emerged as a potential title contender by winning 2 of the first 4 races of the season in Saudi Arabia and Azerbaijan. However, the tide soon turned against him. Despite driving the dominant RB19 car, which has triumphed in every race this year, Perez found himself unable to reach Q3 for 5 consecutive rounds, between late May and mid-July. Nonetheless, he managed to regain his footing with back-to-back podium finishes in Hungary and Belgium just before Formula One's summer break. However, despite his resurgence in performance, Red Bull's top brass appears divided on Perez's job security for 2024. Christian Horner, the team principal, remains resolute in his stance that Perez will continue as Verstappen's teammate. In contrast, Helmut Marko, the team's advisor, has hinted that the driver lineup has not been finalised, leaving room for speculation about Perez's future. In a post-summer break interview, the 80-year-old Marko emphasised the uncertainty of Formula One, stating that nothing is 100% certain in Formula One, it just doesn't exist. He reiterated this sentiment in another interview, emphasising that while Perez had a contractual commitment, it did not guarantee his position, but merely represented a contractual agreement. This means there's a chance Perez could be moved to AlphaTauri or even compensated without racing. In the midst of these conflicting statements, Perez himself appears ready to take control of his destiny. In a recent interview with Spanish rights holder DAZN, he dropped his strongest hint yet that he might not renew his Red Bull deal under any circumstances, as he realised the team's focus would always be on Verstappen. He said, "With the season we've had, it's important in the next few races that I also want to be in an environment where I feel like I can contribute. And if that place in 2024 isn't here, we have to look for other alternatives. But right now, my main focus is being here, winning more races, continuing to win championships with Red Bull. I have a contract until next year, so sometime next year we will sit down and talk." If re-signing isn't a given for Perez, then it certainly isn't for Red Bull either, which has never really stopped looking over its shoulder to the next best driver for its second seat. In Italy, team boss Christian Horner said, "In 2025 we have 1 seat open, and as you can imagine, there's not a shortage of interest in that seat." The season precedes the 2026 regulation changes when F1 moved to all new cars and power units. However, Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko, who is known for his shrewd eye for talent, has openly expressed interest in McLaren's Lando Norris. Marko commented, "Norris has a contract until 2025. Unfortunately, it's for so long because he would be one of the candidates." He also noted that Norris is by far the strongest of the young drivers. Former F1 world champion Nico Rosberg also hinted at a possible departure for Norris from McLaren, despite his contract running until 2025, stating, "Where's he going? I hear there's a switch coming." However, McLaren's CEO Zak Brown quickly dismissed such speculation, affirming Lando will be racing at McLaren through 2025. Yet, in the world of Formula One negotiations, nothing is ever set in stone, and Brown's words could be the starting point for future discussions. McLaren's ongoing engine supply negotiations for 2026 further complicate the situation, potentially influencing any deals involving Norris. The young driver is now a significant player in the 2025 and 2026 driver market, with reported interest from Ferrari and Aston Martin. While Norris has expressed openness to teaming up with Max Verstappen in the future, the prospect of joining Red Bull, dominated by the Dutchman, presents a monumental challenge. However, if McLaren continues its upward trajectory, Leveraging its upgraded infrastructure and high-profile hires in Woking, staying with McLaren may indeed be a wise choice for Lando Norris. The prospect of teaming up with Max Verstappen seemed intriguing to Norris, and Verstappen didn't oppose the idea either. It appeared to be a match made in racing heaven, yet the road to this potentially harmonious partnership is blocked by Norris's firm commitment to McLaren. Interestingly, this isn't the first time Red Bull has had their sights set on Lando Norris. Back in the first half of 2018, when Norris was leading the Formula 2 title race against Mercedes' George Russell, Red Bull made a move to acquire Norris as a replacement for Brendan Hartley at Toro Rosso. Hartley was struggling, having scored only 1 point in the team's first 6 races with Honda, while Pierre Gasly was impressing with significant points finishes. However, Norris was a part of McLaren's junior program at the time. McLaren had Fernando Alonso and Stoffel Van Dorn under contract, but was exploring options to replace Van Dorn with either Esteban Ocon or Carlos Sainz. When Alonso decided to take a sabbatical from Formula 1 in the early summer of 2018, it opened the door for McLaren to promote Norris and protect him from rival teams' potential poaching. Had Alonso made a different decision and had McLaren signed Sainz or Ocon regardless, Norris would have become a free agent. If he had signed with Toro Rosso, it would have been instead of Alex Albon. In that case, Norris might have become Verstappen's Red Bull teammate in mid-2019, a tantalizing what-if scenario. In hindsight, it's tempting to speculate that Norris could have fared better at Red Bull than Gasly and Albon did. He shares a strong rapport with Verstappen, having been sim racing teammates, and is comfortable with the oversteer driving style that Verstappen excels in. The Brit also flirted with the idea of signing with Red Bull in 2021. However, the seat went to Sergio Perez, and Norris eventually signed a long-term contract. If Norris continues with McLaren and doesn't move to Red Bull, another potential driver who can replace Perez is Daniel Ricciardo. When Daniel Ricciardo made a surprising mid-season return to Formula 1, stepping in for the struggling Nick de Vries at AlphaTauri during the Hungarian Grand Prix, it became evident that this move was more than just a temporary stint. The Australian driver seemed to be auditioning for a potential return to the main Red Bull racing team in 2025. Ricciardo's comeback, however, hit a roadblock as he suffered a fractured hand, forcing him to miss at least 4 races. This setback somewhat dampened the initial excitement surrounding his return. Yet, during the 2 races he contested with AlphaTauri, Ricciardo displayed glimpses of his former prowess behind the wheel. If he can conclude the season on a strong note, it is highly likely that he will retain his seat for 2024. It's worth noting that by 2025, Ricciardo will be 36 years old, which doesn't exactly align with Helmut Marko's emphasis on youth and speed. Nevertheless, similar to Sergio Perez, Ricciardo brings a wealth of experience to the table, making him a reliable driver capable of consistently delivering solid results. When Ricciardo initially left Red Bull for Renault, one of his primary motivations was to escape the looming shadow of Max Verstappen. Now, at this stage of his career, that concern is no longer a factor. Returning to a competitive seat would be an accomplishment in itself for Ricciardo, allowing him to showcase his skills once again. Now over to you. What's your thought about Norris moving to Red Bull? Will it be the best move for his F1 career? Let us know in the comments section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.